What's up guys, jtmoffroad here. Today's video, I'm answering the question, am I going to keep off-roading the lifted Avalanche? So we've now taken the truck on 2 off-roading trips. One was just kind of getting a little bit into it, seeing how it was going to do. The second one was more of a place that I've gone off-roading before, and I take the Jeep, and I know there's a lot more stuff there, but there's areas where you can go through, you know, just trail riding, and there's nothing really bad at all that I'm going to run into that the truck shouldn't handle. So after getting a couple trips under my belt, felt like it was a good time to share with you guys how I felt about it and if I'm going to keep wheeling this thing. So for those people tuning in that don't know anything about this, it's a 2004 Avalanche. It's got the 5.3, so it's 1500. We have a 6-inch rough country lift on it with 35s, and that's pretty much about it. That's the mostly what you need to know. It has the G80 locker in the back, the factory one, so it has a little more traction in the back. The style lift is a non-torsion drop lift, so all the factory angles are pretty much the same. It's normal just driving around town, highways and everything. It feels great. I replaced a lot of extra stuff in the front that doesn't come with the lift, but it's just, you know, maintenance things that need to be replaced. When I replaced everything, the drive is great. It feels awesome. It's so much better than it was before. As for the off-roading aspect of it, driving around on like haul roads where you have like bigger than normal size gravel, stuff like that in a Jeep is terrible. You get rocked around all over the place. You have to air down. It's still just not even that great a ride. With this, it soaks everything up. You don't feel anything. That's even with the tires aired up to, you know, 30 plus pounds. Driving around, it feels great. You're in AC. It's a great experience. Once you start getting into bigger rocks and you're testing the travel, it gets very bumpy, and still better than the Jeep, but it still gets pretty bumpy. I think the biggest downfall of this is the front end. So the rear, you have the solid axle, you have a little bit of articulation in there. It did good. I was on the bump stops each time. You know, I was you know, off camber a good bit, and it definitely did its job in the back. It did great. Up front, there's pretty much no articulation. You're riding on the bump stops. The torsion bars don't have very much travel at all. Once you get off camber, your wheel lifts up and all your power goes to that wheel, and it's not touching anything, so you don't move. So if you don't have enough, if the rear doesn't have enough traction, it can't push you through that, you have to back up a little bit, bump it. You know, both situations I didn't air down, which I probably should have, looking back into things. I was hitting more things with a little more wheel speed, which made it for more of a violent experience. Things to address for that. So I've heard this, and I forgot to try it out each time. I don't know why. But I've heard that if you apply the brakes slightly, you kind of trick it into thinking that it actually does have traction, so it actually spreads the power over each wheel. So I don't know. I've never actually tried it. Let me know if you've tried it. If it works, great. If it does, then this thing will be so much better, because I'll be able to have something up front actually moving both wheels. The biggest things that I've been reading about are, if you're going to be doing anything, if you're actually going to be building the front axle, you should replace it with a center section from one of the bigger, heavier duty trucks. I can't remember if it's like a 2500 or 3500. But you can upgrade it with a different center section so it's stronger. They don't take well to lockers. They say you're better off with like an LSD if you're going to do that. So if you were to do anything with it, it seems like the best way, if you're going to upgrade anything in the front, is probably an LSD. But it seems like first you want to look into upgrading your CV axles to stronger ones and upgrading your tie rods. So I replaced the tie rods up front with some Moog tie rods when I was doing this whole thing, and surprisingly they held up great, because I was doing some things with a little more wheel speed, trying to get up things I should have aired down, like I said. I think the CV axles took a little more abuse than they really should have, so they're a little rattly now after this past trip. Now, I I've been harping a lot on the front end of this, and that's for like articulation and stuff. Like things in the Jeep, it's so much easier in the Jeep because it's a solid front axle, easier to articulate. I would say the truck's better off for like mud, you know, general trail riding. It can do, you know, some things. You're not going to go out and do like a lot of rock crawling with it, unless you really want to beat the thing up. I've already done it in my door, and that's about as far as I want to go with beating this thing up. So with this, it's got the 5.3 V8 in it, which has plenty of power. I'm never gonna not have enough power. It's just a matter, again, of getting that power to the wheels all the time. So one of the other things I did with this, so we're on 35s, and before the truck had 373 gears, I was parting out some trucks, and one of the trucks had 410s in it. So I pulled the axles out of that truck and put it in this truck, because I knew I was gonna be doing some towing, you know, towing the Jeep around and going up in tire size. I wanted to get some bigger gears. So the 410s feel great in this truck. Driving around on the 35s, I'd like to say it feels almost effortless driving around it. You don't really feel like it takes a while to get up to speed. You get up to speed just fine. So the real test is gonna be when I'm towing the Jeep, how it performs with that. So I think that covered a lot of things about the truck. If there's any other questions you have, please feel free to drop those down in the comments. So we're finally to this point. Am I gonna keep off-roading this thing? Heck yeah, I'm gonna off-road this thing. The thing is sick. The thing I like about this truck is relatively, it's a reliable vehicle. Much more reliable than my Jeep. It's a nicer ride. You have AC. It's comfortable. It's leather seats. You have tons of storage. It's got great ground clearance because you're lifted up so high, plus you got the 35s on it. I mean, I'm not gonna do the things I do in my Jeep with it, but it's gonna get me out and adventure around. And you know, like the last trip, even if there's times where I'm like, oh, my Jeep's broke, I can't do anything, I can at least take that and I can drive a lot of the trails and still video what I'm doing. And then, you know, my friends that are doing the more rougher obstacles. So I'm not getting rid of the Jeep. This past trip was definitely an eye-opener, and I want to wheel the Jeep again. I need to focus back on that. We did a lot of stuff with the Avalanche. We're still gonna do some stuff with the Avalanche, but it's time to get back into the Jeep. The year of the Avalanche was good, but it's time to get back into the Jeep again, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are pretty excited about. So we do want to do some more things to the Avalanche for towing. So my trans lines are actually leaking right now, so we have to replace those, get a bigger cooler in it, get this truck set up so I can actually tow my trailer now. The weight distribution hitch that I had before is too high, so I had to get a different bracket so it can actually be level, so we got to do that. There's a lot of things we still have to do to the thing. So I just wanted to make this video and let you guys know what I think of this thing and how it's been performing and what we're going to be doing in the future. So thanks again for watching all of these videos. Thanks for hanging in with there. I definitely dropped down a little bit in views and stuff whenever I started all this Avalanche stuff, but I think it paid off in the end. I think it's a great vehicle. It's fun. You know, I've had some awesome experiences already in this thing off-roading, and I'm gonna keep having those experiences. So thanks again everybody for tuning in and watching these videos on the Avalanche. We're getting back to the Jeep. I got a lot of things to do around here, so I'm gonna be ending this video. So guys, if you are new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. I think that's about it for this video, guys. We'll see you in the next one.